What's good with it? In the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips, where you already know we get it in. But before we get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding! Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content I am kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support, man. We're going up on this channel. It's all because of you. And for that, I can say I'm very humbled and very much so appreciative. So gracias. I had to wash my hands. Dog shit everywhere. Had to clean it up. You know how it is, right? Hey, cleanliness is next to godliness. And I'm a holy thou motherfucker, right? So, man, this dog is driving me crazy. Anyways, let's get to the content at hand. X-rated. He was on Vlad TV. Whoop-de-doo, right? It's not the first time nor the last time, probably. But I respect X-rated. Man, hey, come on, everybody. Play the telephone game, right? I fuck with X-rated. I always have. In Northern California, he was it. He was him. Out of the Sacramento area, Sibo, Brother Lynch, Mr. Doc, X-rated. Hey, you guys know what it is. Hollow Tip, and the list can go on and on. So many great rappers out of the Sacramento area. But X-rated got notorious because he did what he said he did. See, there's a lot of rappers that just rap about it, but he was really about it. So he ended up catching a murder case and doing almost 30 years, 27 years to be exact. And we heard a lot of stories about X-rated while he was incarcerated. But not a lot for about 15 years. For about 15 years, maybe even a little bit longer, he was in general population on the main line. Yes, indeed. And I say that to say this. There's a lot of people that believe he paroled from general population. And I'm here to tell you, he did it. That's just the truth. Then there's going to be a lot of people that say, well, the reason X-rated was placed on an SNY yard, which he did parole off of, no big deal, right? It's a dangerous situation there too. But the reason he paroled, or he was placed on that yard was because he was a celebrity and because administration had it against him. And no, the reason he was placed on that yard, to be totally honest with you, is because he asked to be placed on them yards because he wanted a program and get the fuck out. See, the only way for him to get a date without getting involved in any of the shenanigans and the bullshit that happens on the general population yard, you know, things that he was involved in at a high level, right? Being a Crip and being in prison. Of course, your people are going to get caught up in a lot of racial things, a lot of things black and brown, a lot of things black and white. So in order to avoid that and do him, he asked to be placed on an SNY yard for whatever reason so he could do his programming. So ultimately he could have a chance at board to get a look and get out, and it worked. Okay? But just because he was on the SNY yard doesn't mean he's a sucker or a punk. There's some real gangsters everywhere. He was still in prison. He was still doing time. So all the people that talk shit about X-rated, oh, he's a sucker, he's a chump, he's a punk, he was on SNY, man. Unless you've been there, you don't know what time it is. That man gets a lot of respect by the way he carries himself, the respect he shows others, and how he treats others. And that's that. You know, to me, SNY, PC, protective custody, general population, it's all the same damn thing to me. You know, there's more motherfuckers telling on GP than there is SNY. Believe that, right? So now that we've got that out the way, and yes, he truly did parole from an SNY yard. How do we know this? Well, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. But he does an interview on Vlad TV. And it seems like for whatever reason, X-rated doesn't like to admit where he was. And when you have something to hide or you're hiding something, then eventually everyone's going to call you on it, right? But I understand the situation. It's nobody's business where that man paroled from or where he was at. But it definitely makes the lifestyle that he's involved in the rap game and being solid and cripping and all that, it does kind of water the situation down and make people think some type of way about you. Because there's a lot of people that are not educated enough to understand exactly what that man's seen and has went through. So they make up excuses for him when he's not making up excuses. He's just not telling you his business, and I respect that. But a while back, there was a video put out. Okay, and I remember I tried to interview X-rated. I actually got in correspondence with X-rated. I got his phone number in my phone right now, right? Unless he changed his phone number. And I was going to go meet up with them in Vegas, and we were going to do an interview. And ultimately, that didn't work out because the day that we were going to do the interview, he had a tragedy in his family. And he got a hold of me like a real man does. He said, hey, bro, we're going to have to do it another time. I had a death in my family. I said, kill that noise, bro. Respect it. My condolences, my brother, man, to you and your fam. Handle your business, man. This shit, this social media shit don't mean that much to me. This is real life, man. Do you? He respected that. He said later time and date. I said, we'll set it up. We never did. But I wanted to ask him some tricky questions. See, I was actually going up there not to expose him or put him in a corner, but to ask him the real questions not everyone truly asks, right? And I wanted to kind of find out what really happened in that situation on that Pleasant Valley yard with the Northern Riders when he was cut up. Why? Because, see, I had got someone that was actually there who was actually a Northern Rider to tell me his side of the story and what happened and why it was done. So when watching this Vlad TV interview, I seen how X-Rated didn't want to admit that it was an SNY yard and it was a dropout gang, or what people call a dropout gang. I don't want to disrespect them, guys. Let them do them. But how this is what happened and this is what went down. In fact, it made it look like it was a black and Mexican thing. Like it was a racial riot type situation. When in fact, that's not what it was. Because see, one thing about them SNY yards, when you get over there, you can fuck with whoever you want to fuck with. Now, of course, human nature, you're still going to rock with people that look just like you, people you feel comfortable around, people from your past affiliations and organizations and groups. You kind of just will go that route, I'm sure. But at the same time, it's different from a general population yard where you're segregated and there's a line drawn in the sand and you can't. So rather than just saying, hey, this is the way it was, Vlad, you know, I was fucking with these guys on a different level. They wanted me to do this. I didn't want to do that. It went down. He kind of tried to turn it into a Mexican black thing, when in fact, it wasn't a Mexican black thing. It was an X-Rated and those guys thing. Truth, right? So the story I got from the Northern Riders side, and this is facts, man. I did the interview. You can watch some of my past videos. I think it's still up. He said that he was actually very good friends, and X-Rated and him worked in the kitchen together. They were very good friends, man. And he was a Northern Rider. I don't know if he still is, if he continues to be, but at that time he was functioning as a rider. And they were on an SNY yard together, and that there was a couple guys from the Riders that wanted X-Rated. They wanted to do some business with them, some music things. And X-Rated wasn't really feeling it. Okay, he wasn't really feeling it. And for some reason or another, one of them guys took that as disrespect. And so they tried to debo up on X-Rated, basically try to extort him about his fucking state boots. And he felt some type of way. He said, I ain't breaking bread with a soap. I ain't breaking bread with nothing. The man carried himself with pride. Regardless of the yard he was on, he still walked out there with his chest held high. And they got off on him. Now, he was whacked. He wasn't, no metal got put in him. They didn't blast him. He was cut up with an RB, allegedly. You could watch the video. It's on YouTube when it kicked off in the Pleasant Valley yard. And of course, man, it looked like one or two brothers also got involved. But it wasn't a black or brown thing. It was a fucking singular thing. It was X-Rated. Dudes feeling some type of way. They moved on him, not the blacks. And that's what it was. Now, when he did this interview with Vlad TV, he kind of, instead of telling that story, he told that story to a certain degree, but he kind of tried to make it look like it was a black and brown situation. And it wasn't that. And I felt the way he said, like, we don't fuck with Mexicans. We don't do that. Our business is none of their business, and their business is none of their business. That's a general population philosophy. Absolutely. On the general population. And let's not get it twisted, because the Northerners and the blacks function on the same side of the yard, and they do a lot of business together. You know, sometimes when it pops off with the blacks, Northerners get their back and vice versa. It happens all the time. Whereas you have the whites and the Southsiders on the other side of the yard doing what they do, being cordial with each other and sometimes conducting business and getting off together, depending upon a common enemy. That's general population yard living. So when he's alluding to that type of scenario, he's speaking in general population terms, but he was not in general population at the time. He was on a different type of yard where it's the wild, wild west mentality where everyone stands accountable for their own. Yes, there are certain groups. Yes, there are prison gangs over there. Yes, there are a few little other different types of things going on. But at the same time, you're a man and you stand on your own 2 feet. No one has to ask permission to do what they do unless they're involved in prison gangs, to which obviously X-Rated wasn't. Now, I'm not here to slander him and say I seen that paperwork on YouTube, man, and it says that X-Rated told on the Northern Riders. Whether that's true or he didn't, that's his business. I don't know. And to be totally honest with you, I could care less. That man is still loved. He's always going to be loved. But that brings me to this conclusion. It's crazy how people get judged all the time without having actually not been there and knowing what time it is, right? and they see some frivolous ass paperwork on YouTube and they believe. Now, I've been subject to it. You know, I've put paperwork out there where I had to apologize because it was Al Boo Boo. Because someone gave it to me and they didn't know, and someone gave it to them and they didn't know. And at the end of the day, instead of being firsthand with it, man, I didn't do my homework and I reaped what I sowed. Shit happens, right? Let's move on. But at the end of the day, I will say whatever that paperwork said, that X-rated said or didn't say, man, it doesn't matter anyways. No one's going to do nothing to that man. Now, there are people that don't like him for whatever reason, but he is a brother. See, the blacks have different politics from Mexicans. The blacks do things differently. Okay, it's just the way it is. It's not watered down or weaker. Not by any fucking stretch of the imagination. They get down. They do them. Right? But their politics are not brown politics. And he's absolutely right when he says people shouldn't get involved in each other's politics when you're on a general population yard, because that's what's healthy for you. But when you're trying to change the narrative of the story and act like you were over here when you really weren't, that's when it becomes an issue, and it seems like he's throwing the Mexicans under the bus to make people believe this story. Look, X, I fuck with your music. I always will, no matter what. Unless you're a chomo, then I won't fuck with it no more, right? But I will say this, and this is 1,000,000%. The way that story went, it was an SNY issue. Okay? And I know that, man, it's hard to bite the bullet and admit. I know it is. I know it is, man. It's hard to say, man, you know, I was anything less than what people think I am. But I don't think it matters what people think about you. I think the only thing that matters is you keep dropping dope beat, because the same motherfuckers talking shit are the same motherfuckers buying it and trying it. That's real deal. Now, as far as him disrespecting the Mexicans, you know, no, I don't think he disrespected the Mexicans. I think he utilized the Mexicans because he knows that people believe that there's black and brown tension all the time. And it sounds like the perfect excuse or story to tell on Vlad TV to make people feel like he was victimized. Was he truly victimized? No. You're not a victim in prison. When you go there, you're just like anyone else. You're of an understanding that shit could go down at any time, and whatever you involve yourself in, you involve yourself in. Did he tell? Are the guys he told on the victims? No. Because at the end of the day, man, when you do something on a yard like that, everybody will tell on you. Just what it is, right? So now, let's talk about some of the other things that was said on Vlad TV concerning X-rated. You know, there's a mentality he has. You know, he did 27 years, and I could understand him getting out and getting to the grind and getting to the paper and people hating on him. I can understand people constantly bringing up his prison time and where he paroled from and where he was at. That's always going to happen. He'll never be able to shake that jacket. Okay? But let me explain something to you when it comes to the brothers, man. You know, this is facts, and it's going to hurt some hearts. It's going to be controversial. There's going to be some blacks that don't like me no more, man. But I'm just telling the truth, bro. Okay? On an SNY yard, you have dropout gang members. People that were either whacked, removed, decided to get off because they had a drug debt, improperly removed, just got politicked on, or you have guys that righteously want to change their life and have decided, whether it be a selfish reason or not, that they want to turn Christian or they want to go on the other side, whatever reason it is. Sometimes administration will place you over there because there's nowhere else to put you, right? And when you go through all the motions to go to SNY, it's not like you just, one day you're on the main line and the next day you're on SNY. It doesn't work like that. You have to go to committee. You have to make sure they put you in group yards in the hole with other dudes. You know, they got to make sure that everything is everything. They don't want sleepers over there disrupting their yard. Okay, there's already enough disruption on that yard, period. They don't need some other shenanigans going on. Now, I'm talking about what they're doing now, integrating people. But this is what it used to be. So it wasn't like X-Rated was on the main line and then got put on fucking SNY the next day. He had to literally go through some things to get there. Okay? He sat in the hole for a while. He didn't just tell him, hey, I don't want to be on this yard anymore. Because with the blacks, it's different. See, you're going to see a lot of Mexican, the Mexican politics, a lot of dudes get whacked, a lot of dudes get removed, a lot of dudes drop out. You don't see too many black dropouts. Why? It's not because they're harder than everyone and they're more gangster. It's because their politics are different. There's a little bit more leeway. You know, brothers don't really trip as much. They're not petty. Okay? They'll catch a fade. Everything doesn't have to involve weaponry. You know, they'll let you get away with just a little bit more. But when it's time to go, it's time to go. So you are going to see dudes that are black on dropout yards because maybe in X-Rated's case, they want to change their life and get out. Okay, maybe they have other reasons. But I'm not going to lie to you. I've had plenty of primos that did time on SNY and they tell me straight up, right? That when they see a black dude on the yard SNY, the first thing they think is some weird shit. Like, what is he doing over here? Why did he drop out? You know, he don't have to drop out. His politics. But at the end of the day, I tell him, why judge anyone or question anyone? You don't know that man's story. Stop judging that dude. That same dude you're judging is going to put metal in you. You don't do that. Okay? For whatever reason, X-Rated ended up on that other side of that yard, and it is what it is. It doesn't mean he can't rap no more. It doesn't mean he won't throw fucking hands with you no more. Because I seen that video, and let me tell you, he was putting people on their pockets. He did that. But at the same time, you can't sit there and do an interview with Vlad and basically not tell your whole truth. If you're going to be truthful, if you're going to be real, just be all the way real. Just say, fuck it, yeah, who gives a fuck? You know, because I don't think any of the brothers that listen to your music are going to care. See, one thing about being a rapper in the entertainment business, you have more fans outside of California than you do inside. And there's a lot of people that respect the music and listen to it. But when they see you, shying away from the question and not really telling the whole truth, they're going to feel some type of way. Just what it is. I've been told that in the past. That's why I got to be the open book, man. Got to be transparent. It's the truth, right? And as men, we have pride, man, and it hurts our heart to say we're anything less than what we really are, right? Because people are quick to judge and make it, oh, you're a punk, you're a piece of shit, you're a PC, you're a rat, this, and that. And them motherfuckers don't know because they ain't never been there. They don't know what time it is. Anyways, I thought it was a great interrogation conducted by Vlad with X-Rated. But it ain't a story that I heard that I haven't heard before. But there was a lot of people saying, hey, Gun, you should do a video on it because he was disrespecting Mexicans. Where? When did he disrespect Mexicans? All he said was, if you're Mexican, bro, stick to your politics and your business. And if he's black, he's going to do the same, which he is. Okay? Now, are there tensions between blacks and browns? Yes. There's tension between brown and brown, black and black. I've seen it all. Everyone gets off where they're mad at. You know, but at the same time, that incident that happened in Pleasant Valley on that SNY yard was not a black and brown issue. And the way that X-Rated is alluding to it is kind of just making it an excuse. It wasn't. It was a Northern Rider and fucking him issue. And whoever you want to believe, his side of the story, that motherfuckers was trying to debo him. And then other people's side of the story, that he jacked them for money after they paid him and he didn't. Because that's what I heard. See, I heard two different versions of the story, but I believe the truth. I believe what X-Rated says. I believe dudes wanted to do business with them and he was all about himself. You could tell by the interview with Vlad, he said he was doing him. He was making things happen. Now, the way he says he was having more money than everyone on the yard. He's more popular than everyone on the yard. Everybody's watching him because they know him. He's on catalogs on the yard. You know, he's too full of himself. There's some motherfuckers that don't care if you're a rapper that don't even know it on that yard. That'll put some metal on you in that yard just because you are a rapper on that yard. And he knows this. You know, everyone could be targeted, and he was for whatever reason. I don't think the gist of the story is why they hit him. The fact is he was hit what yard he was on, and him saying that it was a Mexican and black thing is a lie. That's a straight up lie. That's fabricated. It was not a Mexican and black thing. You know, one of those dudes wasn't even Mexican. It was an issue between a group and one man for whatever reason. And that's the truth. You know, people constantly use the black and brown. They try to cause division. It causes division between black and brown. We know in prison history, there's been a lot of black and brown tension, but there's also been a lot of time of peace. You know, every yard, there's going to be black people and there's going to be brown people and there's going to be white people on every fucking yard. See, CDC doesn't segregate blacks from whites and browns, and they don't do that. They segregate gangs from each other, but not races and ethnicities. Okay? So when dudes try to get, oh, we were tougher, we were harder, motherfucker, you had your opportunity, airing opportunity all day long. The same people you talk about to get off on. So stop it. You function hand in hand, side by side. You guys programmed together. You ate in the same chow hall. You guys fucking played on the same handball court, same basketball court, same soccer field, same track you walked. Everyone's doing them until they're not doing them no more, and then it goes down. But everybody should be respected. Do I think X-Rated did a great interview? I absolutely do, and I support him to the fullest. I don't care about what people say. Well, he's a rat. He told on the Northern Riders. If you want to believe it, believe it. Do I? I don't know. Nowadays, I don't know what to believe. I know he makes good music. I know he ain't no chomo. I know I'm going to fuck with that. That's what I'm going to truly believe, and that's what I'm going to believe until I can believe otherwise. And that's just what it is. I'm not in a position to judge no man, and I won't. Anyways, as far as him disrespecting Mexicans, I didn't see it. I didn't see the dissing of Mexicans. I seen him using Mexicans as an excuse, but not disrespecting them. As far as Norteños and Northern Riders are not the same. They are not the same group. They don't have the same philosophies whatsoever. So it wasn't Norteños on X-Rated. It wasn't Northern Mexicans on X-Rated. It was a group and a gang, man, with some discrepancy with X-Rated. And that's just truly what it was. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. Anyone's name I included in this situation and all people I talked about, nothing but respect, man. I fuck with X-Rated tough. I just call bullshit on the story. It's the truth. Bang, bang.